Here's an advertising question. To make the most out of our advertising budget, we're a small, locally owned funeral home. How can we best utilize those funds? What advertising medium, TV, radio, newspaper, etc., works best for funeral home advertising? So you've heard me say this before, don't spend any money on advertising that you can't track and that doesn't have a firm call to action. And although it might be awesome for you to see your commercial on TV, how many people are actually going to see that? How many people, like me, hit the skip button on the PVR 4 times to, for 30 seconds each to get through, to skip the whole block of commercials. And you want to have a strong call to action. So here's kind of my hierarchy of advertising that you can track. So number 1, the easiest, most effective, if it's going to work in your market, to look at is Google AdWords. Next would be direct mail. Direct mail with a specific call to action. It's very easy to track. Then maybe place some niche ads, so church bulletins or different groups. And then in those church bulletins, don't just say a generic ad. You want an ad that talks specifically to that group, and it tells them to download something or to view a video on your website at a certain page. So in the Catholic parish bulletin, it would say, view our video on talking about cremation for Catholics, and then yourfuneralchapel.com/Catholic. And that's going to, out of curiosity, they're going to want to go and check that out. And then I would look at community outreach seminars, and again, going to some of these niche groups, focusing on the influencers. Hospice people, like it or not, are influencers. Clergy are influencers at the time of death. And so if we can get in with them, it's not just schmoozing them, it's providing valuable information to their group. Create a seminar series that you could cater to them about. And really, as a last resort, or not even a last resort, radio and TV ads are just very hard to track. And if you're worried about your expenses, then don't do them. And it's going to be hard. People are going to say, well, I want to see my ad on TV, and that's great, but unless you have info, like an infomercial style ad, no, not yelling and screaming, but one that has a clear call to action and that you can track it, then don't do it. Now, if you want to put something together like that, sure, do it. And if it gets you the results, keep on doing it. And if it doesn't get you the results, don't do it. You just got to be very frugal with your advertising dollars. And if you're thinking, well, I'm just going to spend X number of dollars, that's my budget to blow this year, you don't blow it. Just spend it on things that you can track. And if it gets back to that, we've talked about the vending machine model instead of the slot machine model. If you can get it to when you know that every time you spend $500 you get a call, well, I'd spend as many $500 as possible, and you're going to have all the business that you can handle. So that's the mindset that you have to get into. And if you get to that point where your AdWords are working that well, then you don't need a budget. You spend as much money as you can, because then you're going to get as many calls as you can, and up to a point. There'll just be a ceiling of there's only going to be so many deaths in your area. So, and that's why I love Google AdWords, because to the point where, and once we get this clicking with my clients and they just say, okay, Rob, I'm ready, open the spigot and spend, make the daily budgets, $500 or $1,000. Now don't worry, they don't spend that every day, but they know that they don't want to miss an opportunity to get a call, and they know that by the end of the month, that if they've spent $4,000, that depending on what their price per call number is, whatever their number is, if it's 500 and they get 10 new calls, well, they would have been happy with 8 new calls out of that $4,000, and they got 10, so they're below their number. So hey, this is awesome. Can we spend more money to get more calls? That's the new mind shift for advertising. You want to spin it so that you're not constraining. Budgets are only put in place so that you don't waste more money. But if you know that you're not wasting money, then why budget that, right? So it's a new shift that we have to think about.